Okay, and we're live. Hello, everybody. I am Chastity White Rose, and I'm here with my friend, the Principled Organic Vegan. And we're going to be talking about all things vegan today and what happens when you try to explain veganism to people and how they react. I know you have some stories, or Principled Organic Vegan, or POV.
Point of view. That's right. You'll get that from me.
Yeah, you caught the reference.
Yeah. So I actually started this name on BitChute because YT, you know what that means, took me off.
Yeah.
They completely uh, eliminated me, even though I pay Google for storage, and I should get my account. 5 years worth, actually. Chastity Rose for stating that Ovid injections ill. That's what I put the title. And 5 years of everything. That
Yeah.
took a lot of time for me to make all that content. It was
Hmm.
heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. I would like to get it back. I don't know if I'll ever be able to. But anyway, so you and we slowed down with our podcasts because of the plan EMIC. Speaking in code, because if this goes up on YT, then
Yeah.
we don't want it to be pulled down.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna be clever about the words too if I can.
oh my gosh, I never thought that we would be in a situation like what the people over in poor Ina are have gone through, thanks to their political party, the CP. Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's just horrible what has happened. And I think that some people are finally realizing that this whole Ovid was manufactured, but we still have a long way to go. There's a lot of lawsuits around, and I'm getting into lawsuits myself. I'm very upset with several different entities, which I will remain nameless. But anyway, I got ill while I was on my own, and I had to come back to family. And there was a certain person that started contacting me. I was not well enough to see them, but then I was offering for her to stay over um, at the shore. She wanted to. I did tell her that I felt that we were too different, and the reason being is she'll talk about what she likes to eat, and it's not vegan. She has said, though, I will give this credit, that she's done less and less. But the thing is, it's very difficult, having been vegan since 2006, vegetarian since 2001, to hear people say that, oh, well, I only have a little chicken and eggs, and oh, I get the grass fed. It's like, it bothers me. People don't realize it. They think that they're doing good,
Yeah, I murder less than you do.
but it's like when you had the spiritual epiphany decades ago and you've devoted a huge portion of your life, even when you had no money to do it, it's very difficult. Um, she states that I've hurt her, that I harmed her over the years because I kept bringing it up. This person has migraines and states that they need the meat for it. This person states I wasn't listening to her. Okay, and here is the worst thing. Affirmation, if you heard that.
Yeah, what was that?
Email. She stated that I was evil. Evil. She started saying that I should read the Bible sometime. She called me selfish, self-centered, narcissistic, and I'm just crushed that someone would say that I hurt and harmed when all I was trying to do was get her to go on this path, not to harm animals. She has a lovely, cute dog. I have no pets. The fact of the matter is she probably loves animals more than me because I just don't eat them. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to steal from them. And I seriously do not want to kill them. But as far as like love, like, oh, like let me have a whole zoo in here, that's not me. That's more her. Although I will say by not eating them, I do feel that I do love animals more than her. But you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying because people think that love is having all sorts of goofy feelings about something and being all excited about it. But that's not the same necessarily. And if that is, then maybe ain't so good. If you know what I'm saying. Like, take, for example, I'm against killing babies. Of course, I'm against killing the animals as you are, but I'm also against abortion, as you know. I'm against killing babies. Now, that does not mean that I'm one of those psychos that wants to have like 15 kids or something like that. Like, that's not what that means. And of course, that's not going to happen for obvious reasons anyway. But yeah, but I not wanting to kill someone doesn't mean that you're even that fond of them necessarily. Although actually, babies are cute. I will say that.
They are cute. I don't like the smell, but they're cute.
Nobody does.
Oh my goodness. I really don't like the smell of people in general, but when you
Yeah.
start getting like into the littles or the elderly, like there's like some sort of a hormonal thing, you know? And then teenagers, the adolescents, right? The
Yeah.
12-year-olds, yeah, you can smell. Just being
Ugh.
honest.
It's true. And in
Not
fact, my smell has changed.
not not trying to sound wait. I'm not trying to smell shame. Sorry, everyone. That's another thing I have been criticized for. I told some asexuals that it's good to take care of yourself, you know, to prevent obesity, hair loss. What else did I say? Can't remember, but with plant-based holistic food, they got so upset saying that I was shaming, fat shaming, disability shaming, and or that with the hair, right? Well, they're like, oh, what if they have an autoimmune disease? I just don't feel like I could say anything anymore that's like truthful. I don't want anybody to be saddened, but I do feel that it's like really risky to put yourself out there anymore. And then if I just casually talk about something, like I was on the Dr. Fetzer show and called myself Principal Organic Vegan so that I could have some privacy. And then people are like, oh, she won't even give her name. Well, I used to give my name until
Yeah.
people would call me all sorts of names that aren't
Yeah.
my name. So why should I give that if I'm not being even paid? Right? No.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, you remember how you once criticized one of my friends because they have a cat picture as their profile picture instead of their face? That's why. That's precisely why some people are private about themselves, is because then they come under attack. Like, you know, me, I'm a person that, regardless of consequences, I put my name and my face out there. People know who I am. So somebody's probably going to come murder me. But I completely understand why some people would wish to keep their name secret. Oh man, I'm so sad. Like, I'm not even touching the camera. It just keeps turning my camera off, and I have to re-click the button to start the camera. Unfortunately, my webcam, which is ironically was given to me by the said friend who's the cat. um, and sometimes it works, and yet, oh, then there it stops. But you can still hear me. That's the important thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll start and stop, but the audio and what we're saying is the real important thing at the moment. But
And
anyway,
I do want to apologize to that person for that, and I believe I did. But the fact is, like, he knew who I was, and I was all out there, and he wouldn't even let me catch a glimpse of him. And I think that's more what it was about, um, than
yeah.
him just kind of trying to have his privacy. And the fact that he had an animal instead of even like a human, like even like just a, I don't know, like a,
He loves cats, so
okay,
cats are cool.
he's a cat
Um,
man. Okay.
yes, yeah. But anyway, yeah, but I understand that the thing about privacy, though, that's very interesting is the only reason that people have to keep certain things private is because there's evil people out there. Like, the reason that it's not good for everyone to know your home address or your phone number or whatever, or your name even in some cases, is because there are evil people who will try to attack you and do horrible things. In fact, there's a very specific example I can tell you. I was listening to YouTuber Blair White, and I remember her telling how there were people who found out where she lived and were posting her address publicly online for people to go and attack her. And the reason was because they didn't like her political views. You know, she identifies as conservative, whatever that means, you know. And so there's a lot of people that want to do physical violence to Blair, you know. So that's interesting. So I understand why people have to take privacy seriously because of that. But in a perfect world, nobody would have to hide.
No. No, you know that I was giving my name all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's come to the point where, YT takes me down, and that really hurts me because I was trying to help people. I didn't want to see people get harmed. And instead, I'm the one who got harmed. And then you know that I do teaching, right? And I told a parent when they mentioned that the pandemic, and I said it was planned, and then they called my workplace, and I was off the job for like 3 weeks. I mean, number one
Yeah.
was planned, but number two, I was trying to give her information so that she could be educated and make the best choices for her child. And there again, I was caring, and I'm the one who got hurt. So I don't know. I feel like this world is just taking away who I am inside and all the education that I've gotten and the reading that I've done and wanting to help people with it, not keep it to myself. But instead, I'm constantly like having to wonder if I should say something or not. So I'm just so distraught. This person I've known for 30 years calls me evil, and she said, it's not, she said, you can't keep telling me this. It's causing me hurt and harm, and you're crazy and delusional. This is all for not eating animals and for mentioning it over the years. I didn't know that she had all this wrath underneath her. If I did, I truly would have hands off a long time ago. She was kind to me. There was a time when we were together, just like you had friends from childhood. But
Yeah.
I think once you become a vegan and you've gone through changes and you have very strong beliefs, if you can't mesh with somebody that If they don't have that, I mean, this is such a strong position that I hold. And see, this is what people think. They think I'm judging them. But you look at an animal and you see someone slice its neck. And what are you going to do? Not its neck, his or her neck.
Yeah.
Can you handle that? I mean,
No.
some people can. I can't. I wouldn't do it for a human and I wouldn't do it for an animal. Oh, and then I get upset. My voice is raising and whatnot. Then
Yeah.
people criticize me for that because I can't control my voice because I'm upset. So, Chastity Rose, I'm just not the same person that I used to be frank with you. I've been very, very hurt. And I never wanted to be thought about as being evil just because I wanted to help animals. There's another person, she's a truther, and she said she had a dairy allergy. And she's like, oh, I can't get good plant-based dips or something like that. And but like this one is good, you know. And I got upset because she's pretty much telling me the only reason she's getting this is because of her dairy allergy. And to be frank with you, I don't care about her dairy allergy. I just would like her to be kind to animals all the time, not just because she has a dairy allergy. And I went in caps and I said, you know, I don't know. I just said something how I felt and she got upset and then she blocked me. This is a truther.
Yeah.
What I want to say is there's a lot of truthers that are not vegan. You know, there's this whole Bill Gates thing, and he totally got in the way. He you know, he's promoting GMOs in mosquitoes, in food. He's making this lab meat, which your friend was promoting, but at least I guess animals aren't getting harmed in the making, although it's
Well, there's some interesting info about that, but also, did you notice we have a comment on the screen?
no, I
Does
didn't.
does it show on your end? Because well, maybe it doesn't show because if you're on your phone, maybe it's different. But anyway, yeah, our viewers should see this. Scott Gerstein commented, every time I do Cube of Truth outreach, talking to people about what they are seeing on the video screens, you should see how we get attacked and shamed. And then they said, I will never apologize about speaking up for my non-human brothers and sisters. I am a proud ethical vegan for the animals.
Yeah, well, Scott, I would love for you to talk to this person because it deeply hurt me, deeply. You know, and then my family gets on me saying, "You can't tell people what to eat." But the fact of the matter is, I I don't see these creatures as food. I see them like me. And I go back to when I was 6 and I remember this little baby bunny had been attacked by a German shepherd next door. And she was in pain. Like the gut was exposed and I didn't know what to do as a 6-year-old. So I took grass and I put it over the wound like a little blanket. And he or she had passed away the next day. And this is something that happens every minute of the day because people are, you know, attacking them. I can't understand why we are allowed to do that on this planet and why people who are religious, not all of them, think that this is the way it is. Oh, well, God says it right here. But in the end, we're all supposed to be lying with the lambs lie with the lions. And in the beginning, that's the way it was. So why do we have to do the diet that happened after the fall? Why would we even want to do that? Why wouldn't we want to go back to the garden?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not a gardener either. It's just
Yeah.
that I know what's right. All right.
But you know, that's the thing about it is that it's true that see, like other people around me all the time, they're all talking about how good some chicken at some restaurant is. Like I'll just be, processing plants in the floral department, for example. And then, the designer and one of the drivers will be talking about this and that meal and this steak and that chicken, and so they're talking about these animals that they eat. And then when something will happen, like, well, somebody will offer us some kind of free food, and then I'm like, well, no, I don't want to, because and the thing is, it always happens when people are offering me free food. I don't know why people do this. And then I'm like, no, I don't want it. And like people are like, who turns out a free cookie? It's like, well, I don't eat anything without knowing the ingredients. And it's so dumb. So I become like this object of curiosity, being the only vegan, you know. And recently, one of my coworkers asked me, what do I even eat? They're like, how do you live? I'm like, seriously? Because
I know, and I can't stand those conversations. After
yeah,
2 decades, I'm over it. Over it.
yeah,
I mean, I do want people to be able to be educated, and I mean, if they're really interested, right? But when I
yeah.
have to rattle things off just because people, they're just curious, but they have no inclination of like going that way, it makes me not want to bother.
Yeah, it gets very lonely, being vegan, because like just like me, I'm in the Midwest, and I don't have anyone around me. I remember recently there was somebody who they mentioned that their brother was vegan, and I'm like, who's your brother? Where is he? I need to meet this person. But that's just how I am. Like whenever I find out that somebody might be vegan anywhere, that I think they're in the area, I'm like, I must be friends with this person, because I'm so starved for good vegan friends. I mean, well, I'm not starved for them because I don't eat those people, but but you know what I mean. I mean that I'm so lonely because I don't have anyone like me in this area, and it's a tragedy. We're exceptionally rare, and it should not be that way.
Exactly. Just like, and I don't want to get into it too much, but we are the celibate vegans, right? This is going to
Yep.
go under our celibate vegan voices show. Um, just like with the asexuals, they will say, oh, there's something wrong with me, or oh, I wish I wasn't born like this. And I'm thinking to myself, not even thinking of this, but I put on there, I'm like, well, shouldn't this be the norm? I mean, as a female, I mean, I think I'm female, who knows what a
You
woman
you
is.
you never can tell these days. Matt Walsh couldn't figure out what a woman was.
But the fact of the matter is that to have somebody like pounding on you, that doesn't seem normal to me. I don't know what Scott thinks of that, but it doesn't seem normal. The asexual, that seems normal, right? Affection
Yeah.
is one thing, pounding is another. And even if you're not pounding, someone going inside of you to emit a liquid, it doesn't seem normal. It does not seem normal. I
Yeah.
just feel that that's for if you want to have a child. And even so, it's just, I don't want to get into that. Okay.
Right. But well, I agree. That's the thing about it. That was part of how we met, because we met on Facebook years ago. And it's what's sad is that even the asexual people has been infiltrated with all these sex positive aces that I don't know how they manage, but they have more sex than the regular people, and yet still call themselves asexual. And I feel that labels have to mean something.
And they get angry if you bring up celibacy.
Yeah.
Oh, so angry.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Although I'm asexual, at the same time, I just call myself celibate, because at least if I do that, then I get people to go away because they hate the celibate people, because they don't even tolerate the asexual people. When you find out you actually have chosen life as celibacy, well, then they think you're some kind of I guess they think you're some kind of religious person or whatever, and then they hate you, and I'm like, well, at least they leave me alone if they hate me. So sometimes I do that. I try to tell something about myself that I think will alienate people, so leave me alone. That's what I do. And we have another comment here. I don't know if you can see it, but Scott Gerson says, I'm not asexual in my mental wiring, but I've been celibate for more than 6 years now due to I just don't attract the interest of women in that way. So I respect their choice and go without. Interesting. Another person who's been celibate for 6 years. Yeah. But yeah, it's
I hope you
cool.
wouldn't consider yourself an involuntary celibate, because to me, that makes it seem like you really, really want it, and you're like thinking, but okay,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna happen. I just feel that since this has happened to you, that you should embrace it
Yeah.
and want it and make it voluntary. I mean, seriously, religious or not, it does really, your body behaves the way, I mean, your body's a machine, right? So I feel that it's actually healthy for a male too to refrain from that. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have some sort of other, geez, I don't know this guy at all, but you and
Yeah.
we talk all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You tell
Yeah.
me what I'm okay with that he could do on his own time.
Right. Yeah. And
Not porn. I'm not into that either, because then that's people pounding.
yeah. Yeah, we have another comment. I do have cravings, but I don't let them control me. Well, that's cool. Oh, yeah. We're getting a lot of comments from Scott here. I'm not a slave to my primitive brain, and there are noticeable benefits to not sharing bodily fluids with another person. Feel free to say whatever you want around me. This is so cool. I like this commenter here. This is nice. But yeah, actually, Scott, what I find interesting is, see, I like here's how I view it. There, a person who is celibate because they have that they like, and like you said, principled organic vegan, a voluntary celibate versus an involuntary celibate. I mean, they're different. They're both celibate, but there's the difference. The only real difference is the desire. Some may have a desire to do a certain thing, but then they don't let that desire control them, whereas other people do. So it's, and I find myself in an interesting situation just recently, as you know, how I've realized that I am asexual, but with occasional homosexual tendencies, just feelings. But the feelings never go into action. It's just feelings I have sometimes and attractions I notice. But fortunately, in my case, it's so weak that it doesn't distract me from my daily life. So that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have anything to say? Are you still there? Can you hear me?
I
Oh,
put
you're
up on mute because I wanted to give Scott our show. He will
oh.
find out who we are now. Can I drop it in the chat or no?
Oh, let me see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can comment celibate vegan voices. That if someone knows the title, they will find our show. Because yeah, it's on iTunes and Stitcher and apparently even iHeartRadio. I have no idea how that happened. But yeah, so we have our podcasts and it's cool. Oh, they said I've caught several of your earlier shows from years ago. So this person apparently has listened to our show before. This is cool. We have a long time fan, I guess. Oh, nice.
Thank you. Where were you when I tried to pitch this to Hollywood? We
Oh.
did so many thousands of views before that was to happen.
Oh, and we are friends on Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah.
You too?
Friends with which of us?
Probably you.
Probably me, because I do tend to accept friend requests from people I don't know, and then as soon as they send me dick pics, I defriend them or block them.
Speaking of that, I was listening to He's With Me. Okay. Let me look. How could this be that we haven't chatted? I'm sorry, Scott. I'm sorry.
Huh.
No dip from me. Okay.
I wonder what that means. But yeah, so I guess Scott
The
is
SH,
apparently,
I think what he means.
huh. Yeah, well that's cool.
I am looking him up. I did want to say something about while it's slow to process. Oh, there he is. He has a cat too. Volunteering at animal rescue. Oh. And he's been on radio. Oh. What is this Scott? It's called Dick Broadcasting. What's all that about?
Dick broadcasting?
Yeah, what's that about?
That sounds suspicious.
Yes, it is. A little bit it is. I'll have to type that one in there. But what I wanted to say is I I was listening a little bit to, it was an old interview about Hunter Biden, all that laptop stuff that he put on there. He was always taping himself doing sexual stuff, or if he was naked. And one time he like put his organ right up to the camera. I forget where that was. But anyway, he I think he actually has some sort of a condition where you want to like keep doing that. And apparently his organ is larger than most. Forget what he said. Was it 9 inches or something? But anyway, yeah, I think that it's a huge problem, especially in this country where it's gotten so exploited, um, sexual things. I'm not talking about clothes. I'm talking about, you know, the action here, the porn. Germany was pretty hardcore. They were like stomping on animals too. How horrible, right? I can't remember what that term is called, but it's a horrible, horrible thing. But it's interesting because these world leaders were trying to separate people, right, and scare people and depopulate. At the same time, the I guess porn industry works in their favor because they just want people to be staring at screens, not reproducing and breaking apart the fabric of the country. That's my opinion, at least. What do you think?
Were you talking to me?
I am. By the way, I won't call you Chastity White Rose because I don't want to be called racist. I've got to let that go too.
Yeah. Just to be clear, me being Chastity White Rose has nothing to do with the fact that I'm light skinned instead of dark skinned. It has nothing to do with that. It's about the symbolism of the white rose, and all the roses are beautiful of all colors. But yeah, what was your question again?
Scott and I were at an open mic at Olak. That's a wonderful vegan restaurant. Was I doing my comedy? Was I Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders that night? Bernie Sanders? Remember I was talking about how I did that,
Yeah.
you know that.
Well, yeah, I saw your videos of where you doing
All
stuff.
of those went except for the few that I had backed up. They all went down with the the YT account. That's why I'm so angry. It took me time to write that material in 2017. Well, I'm glad that you remember. I would love to sue YT. Love it. I know other people who would like that too.
I think young Pharaoh was trying to.
I don't think it went anywhere, Chastity. It didn't. And by the way, I talked to somebody today who's writing a book about GF, or rather FG, Floyd George. Yeah, some people don't know, but there is an attorney who states that he actually passed away in 2016 in Corpus Christi, Texas. There's a documentary out that states how what we think is real really wasn't. It was CGI and acting. And lastly, unless it's a hoax, that attorney just got arrested this week for smuggling immigrants in from the border. And so this woman is writing a book about the whole possible hoax to destroy the country, get everybody angry at one another. And she was asking me about my discussion with this attorney back in July 2020 when me and Michael Caine were interviewing him over the phone. So I hope her book comes out. I want everyone to know that I didn't just make it up. You know, I watched Young Pharaoh just like him.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to Scott's comment here. Says Chastity, I've caught several of your Free Will Science and Religion podcasts when you were still using your old name. Thanks for listening, Scott. Yeah, I did those podcasts for a long time, and that was before I came out as trans and before I chose the name Chastity. And it was good. We had somewhere between 200 and 300 episodes, but then people started getting political and it started getting really ugly, unfortunately.
I taught at your old school, Scott. I'm not going to name it. Two of them, actually. Filled in. The one you graduated from, I filled in many, 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 many times. The other one just once. Okay, so what was I going to say to you, Chastity? You're looking in the air like you're trying to catch the thought. Oh, yes. The show, the Free Will Show. So interestingly enough, where is this? I think I just gave this to you. It was on nihilism. Did I give that to you?
You may have. Did you send it to my phone? Because I don't have my phone with me right here.
I think I did. Let's see. An increase in nihilism plays havoc with mental health. That's what it said. It says it's in Psychology Today, and it's from August 26th. So if you want to read that, basically, communication between people is essentially impossible, the post-structuralist said. The slipperiness of language and the uniqueness of individual experience doom us never to understand one another. Isn't that true?
It's the truth.
That's why I'm evil for pointing out the fact that animals get hurt. I'm evil.
Yeah, well, I'm just as evil as you.
Yeah.
I'm just as evil as you, if not more. Not that it's a competition or anything, but
God, I don't think you should, but I guess it's all right if you want to, but I'm not going to.
yeah. Well, since I'm as vegan and as celibate as you, we'll just say that we're both evil. We have slight differences, but I don't think that not wanting to hurt animals is evil.
So let's go back to the whole truther movement. The people that know that the shot is dangerous and it's a bioweapon by definition, and how not all, but many of the vegans, they promoted it. they called people crazy if they were like looking into what this plan emic was all about. And they got very, very nasty. So where was I going? I just forgot. Vegans, vaccines. Oh yeah, so I had to disconnect from those types of people, and they went whoop off my Facebook, and I was just gathering people that were investigating what was going on, and most of them are not vegan. And now I'm at the point where many of these truthers, they have babies and barbecues, and they're always talking about church. I am a believer. I do believe in God. We like babies, but I don't want to have one, right? And I don't do barbecues, right? And I have all these people on my page because they believe the non-narrative, right? Where the people that I was a little bit more, not a little bit, a lot more in common, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. So now I'm at the point where it's hard for me to get through the muck with all these truther people that still believe that it's good to eat animals, and they'll point to the Bible section, and and they'll start talking about, oh, I want to eat crickets or something. No. I know people are now upset that crickets are in like everyday foods. Do you know this? It's the truth. They're coming out with crickets.
I did not know this.
Yes, even in Dole, in some sort of natural fruit juice, there's some parts. It's the truth.
Oh man. This world keeps getting grosser.
And there is an ingredient in crickets called chintin that's supposed to be really bad. So it's called cochineal extract. I don't know if that's a cricket, but it's some sort of insect.
Let's see. It's hard to read on the screen there, but it's on the Dole juice. Yeah, cochineal extract. Is that what it says? Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like very lonely, like yourself, and I was not like that before this pandemic. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Maybe Scott can say what his feelings are about this pandemic, the vegans, and where they are at this moment with everything.
Yeah, if he wants to.
And by the way, Chastity, the governor of Florida, like, he seems like a truther. He wants to throw foul across the Potomac. That's what he said. But when he said it, he sounded very violent, and I didn't actually like that. But I'm just saying that, like, he's done a lot of good things, but he's definitely not a vegan. And I'm just disappointed. Maybe you're disappointed with me, but I am not very fun right now. I lost my sense of humor, Scott, with the Plan Emic, unfortunately. I love doing the stage comedy. That was fun, and I thought that I was making great valid points. But now I'm so confused because I think that the media actually was lying about DJT. I don't think he was as bad as everyone made him out to be. I think the media just picked and chose what they wanted. Not that I completely believe everything that he has been saying throughout this time, because he's the one who dealt with the warp speed. I mean, right? But at least he didn't impose it on us, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know whether or not he would have in the future. It's I don't trust any of the politicians.
So, Chastity, what more should we be saying? Let's give some solutions. Do we have any?
I would love to come up with a solution. That's the thing is we know what the problems are with this world, but I don't know what the solution is because even people that we are close to, even people that are family or people that we thought were our friends, they're advocating for, they're not vegans, most of them, and they're still killing animals, and then they're shoving sexual things in your face, and they want to put injections in you that you don't want all the time. So there's like no respect. We know what the problem is, but how do we fight back? Because what bothers me is I don't want to let people just abuse me and others, but what do I do? That's what I don't know because it seems like unless you have a lot of money and can somehow financially fight against people, either that or do physical violence, which I'm against, there's no way to stop them from being evil as they are. So I don't know. It helps to talk about it for some odd reason because I don't get to talk about these things that bother me most of the time.
I think this country is a corporation. That's what I've learned from the truthers.
Yep.
So it all stems on the money. So you're right. You really can't fix the problems without the money. And most of the people who have the money are corrupt. They are. Not all, but most. Or can get
Yeah.
corrupted. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of having no sense of humor, I think about how comedy it has been destroyed. I mean, because have you heard about the controversy with Dave Chappelle?
Which one?
Okay, yeah. Well, there's probably more than one, but the thing is, Dave Chappelle has been a comedian for a long time. He used to have his own show. Now, first, a disclaimer: you're probably not going to like his comedy. I don't suggest you listen to him necessarily because he uses a lot of bad language. He uses the F word, the N word, stuff like that. But in spite of all those problems and stuff, the thing that got people very angry was when he made some jokes about transgender people.
Mhm.
And as a transgender person, I actually found his jokes very funny. I'll tell you what it was because this was funny. I think even you'll find this a little bit funny because he was saying that I'm not saying that trans women aren't women. All I'm saying is them pussies that they've got, it's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy. That's what he said. And do you realize what he was making a comparison to Beyond Meat or the Impossible Meat, the Impossible Burger, all that stuff. And so what he was saying is that the artificial vaginas that some trans women have made are as fake as those vegan meats. But well, first of all, there's a big difference. First of all, those vegan meats they're actually plant based. They are vegan, whereas people's vaginas, whether real or artificially constructed, are not vegan. But as a vegan and as a trans person, I found it hilarious. Like you can't see the humor in that. It's beyond or impossible like that. That was a good joke, and it's a joke that only a vegan would be able to get. And a lot of people did not get the joke, and so he came under a lot of fire. People wanted to cancel him, and the people like, oh, I'm not watching Dave Chappelle, and then they sent complaints to Netflix, and it's just weird. And then there was the whole J.K. Rowling thing too, and personally I never cared because I wasn't really a big fan of Harry Potter anyway. But the censorship of even these people who are just writers or comedians, they're not even allowed to say anything. Even people who are rich and who have been doing stuff for years, now everybody's silenced. and it's kind of killed any creative thought or sense of humor that anybody has.
Mm-hmm. You're right about that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just as somebody who wants to be a comedian, I am deeply offended.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I, I mean, the CCP, um, they've influenced Hollywood a lot. Like they made Hollywood censor out bad things about Ina, and you know, I'm having to believe that a lot of this censorship is coming from them. They might be ramping up for war. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, as they say, but I listen to a lot of the Health Ranger, Mike Adams on Bradion.com. So he's been explaining things. Another thing, though, I don't like is the truthers are like, oh, we need to save for the food shortages. Well, their idea of like food shortages is meat. That's not
Yeah,
all right, right? I mean, everyone's
right.
upset. Well, it is upsetting to know that cattle and chicken have been slaughtered, right? That's horrible. But
Yeah.
then they call them food. And that does not sit well with me.
It's not, they're friends, not food.
They're friends, not food. Yeah. When will speciesism be popular? As popular as anti-racism? When will speciesism make it? When?
I hope soon. Like it's crazy. It really is.
And
Eh,
one more thing, you know what? I just want to state, if we start bringing it up, then the truthers are going to get angry at us and think that we are going with the program because everyone was crying racism. So there's no winning. None.
uh yeah. It's really crazy because isn't it strange that the people who are just peaceful and we're not causing harm to anyone, we end up being the most hated.
Vegans are very hated people. I never realized it. I guess I was in a cocoon over in LA. I did not know. There are a lot of haters. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
Let's come up with a solution.
Yeah, if you have any ideas, then I'm all for it because I want to find a solution.
Scott,
Hmm.
do you have a solution? You still there?
They're still leaving some comments. Can you read their comments?
I was looking, yeah.
All right, good. But yeah, yeah, I want there to be a solution. We should totally have more viewers and who give us solutions.
He has
Oh,
he has one.
all right. This I've gotta read when they say that.
Now, will people be able to see the chat when you post this?
Well, when he comments what his idea is, I can put it on the screen because I can click on him and put him on the screen because I'm the host.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's echo FDR when he said, "I welcome their hatred." Hmm.
I don't. But okay, I get what you're saying. Or what he said. He said, she said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I suppose in a sense, it's possible for people's hatred of us to theoretically work out for a better situation. Let's see. No apologies or guilt for defending my non-human friends. Yeah, well said, Scott. Hmm.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah. Yeah. Especially when they talk about it a lot. I just don't. It doesn't vibe with me. And I have too many people on. I don't want to. Let me rephrase it. have a lot of people, a couple thousand on FB, and it's difficult to get through. So I would rather have those folks that want to go towards a plant-based life, which is compassionate. That's how I feel. That's right. Word choice matters. Exactly. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention to you, Chastity, is that Jainism, you can't eat the root vegetables because, you kill the insects. Do you know that?
Yeah, it's because in the process of uprooting the vegetable, it breaks up the dirt and can harm the insects living in the dirt and the worms and all that.
So I gave you this video on your text, and it talks about all the animals in the process that are killed on organic farms, or just I guess any vegetation farms, when they're planting and when they're trying to keep away critters. So that was a little bit sad, but I don't know what to say. Like, you just have to be as careful as you can be, as long as you're careful, right?
Yeah. I mean, as many vegans know, there's no way to do zero harm because but here's the thing, like for example, there are people who try to say, well, I'm not going to be vegan because even vegans accidentally step on an ant sometimes and kill an ant. Yeah, but the main thing is there's a difference between intentionally doing it and accidentally. There's a huge difference, and people don't see that, or maybe they do and they're just being weird, because I don't think people, I hope people are not that stupid and not see the difference. But Scott says here, I steer clear of terms like fake meat. I call it modern, delicious, plant based, cruelty free meat. Yeah, that's good. But we have more. When carnists try to cite taste as their reason for continuing their abuse, I remind them that raw dead animal flesh is as tasteless as raw tofu. This is true, um, because meat itself doesn't have much taste, just like tofu doesn't really have taste. And what people don't even realize is that it's the seasonings put on things that are giving things their flavor anyway. It's
Mm-hmm.
totally possible to have tofu or anything else actually taste really great, as people who put the effort into it know. Now, myself, I'm a lazy vegan that just puts ketchup on everything, and that's my solution. But uh, but about what Scott said about the fake thing, um, here's an interesting thought. Being so-called fake is not necessarily that bad of a thing. Take, for example, how fake flowers don't die, whereas the real ones do. If you think about artificial flowers, that's part of their advantage. Something being artificial is, first of all, a misnomer anyway, because everything is natural and that it comes from nature somewhere down the line, obviously. But these things that are so called fake, like the fake meat or the fake cheese, as people call it, well, that doesn't mean that it's lesser. Like take for example, I'm not a real woman, okay? And I know that. Let's just say that trans women are fake women, okay? I'm fine with that because I know what I am. And what you call something, you calling something real or fake, doesn't make it more legitimate or less legitimate, because it's the character of the person. And same with the food, it's not about how real or fake it is, but it's about not hurting animals. And the whole reason for having the vegan products is because they don't come from the same cruel process. So I don't care if it is fake. But I also see Scott's point, and that there are perhaps better words to use. Because for some people, something being called fake may have a negative connotation.
Like saying you're a fake person, right? That means you're always like lying, or you're only superficial. Right.
Yeah. Now that, yeah, that is an example of being fake. That was somebody who would be dishonest, for example. Let's see. I inform people that though they claim it's about taste, their carnism is much more likely about continuing validation and affirmation of their sense of total human supremacy. But it gets, when you think about it, it's even worse than that, because if they can justify eating something because of its taste, then they could decide the other humans are tasty and turn to cannibalism. They could totally do that. So maybe taste should not be the most important thing.
Well, there's always the expression, um, I I live to eat, not eat to live, or vice versa. It depends on who you are, but I eat to live. I don't live to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I think about what I eat and what I'm putting into my machine, my temple. I'm not living to eat. I'm sorry. Wait. I am not living so I can eat. Like that's not my goal here.
Yeah,
My
that would be sad.
my goal is to eat what I need, proper nutrients, and I'm careful. I was going to a naturopathic doctor, and she touched upon the fact that I could possibly have a little or orthexia, I think that's called. It's when you're so picky with your foods that you'll deny yourself something if it's just not right. But I'm like, wait a minute. I believe that corporations are making up this term because they want you to eat junk. They want you to eat food that's not organic, right? And so then when you are like looking and whatnot, that you only want to have the best for your body and not harm animals and whatnot, then you're thought of as being like extreme with the condition. This is wrong. Just like we're talking about people with autism, they are very, very honest, right? And they're
Yes,
very
I
smart.
I should know.
It's like, is this considered a condition? I mean, shouldn't we be like this? If we were all honest with smarts, we wouldn't be in this plan emic, right? It
Yep.
makes complete sense.
It's like I've said before, it's really hard to be evil when you're honest. Like, it's really hard because if you can't lie, you're going to have a really hard time doing any other kind of crime. I mean, like, because if you just tell people, "Oh, I'm going to try to murder you now," and, "Oh, I'm going to try to rape you," like, then people avoid the threat cuz they run away. You know what I'm saying? You can't, it's like it's really hard, if not impossible, to do anything evil without being dishonest. It requires lying.
Scott tries to meet people where they're at. And I've heard that so many times.
Well, that's better than meeting them where they're not, because if they're not there, you can't meet them.
I know, Scott. It is difficult for somebody like me. It is. Because I just like to cut to the chase. I don't like to start arguments, though. I really don't. It's too much energy. I don't want people to hate me. But I knew this like person for 30 years. I thought she could handle me. And I wasn't nasty. I showed her this one picture, it just set her off. It was like the bolt that went through the cow. Because she was talking about the Bible and whatnot. And this post, I shared it with her because that talked about the Bible too and showed it. I mean, she was outraged. That was one of the things that she said I heard and harmed her. I was only presenting the truth. I don't know. How can you meet people where they are at if you can't even like show the truth?
Yeah. And people never really know the real you if you're too afraid to say anything. So that's why relationships are actually very shallow a lot of the time, and that's a problem. Hmm.
Scott does the cube of truth. I've done that before.
Yeah, I know someone else who did the Cube of Truth also.
Scott, tell us about their extreme reactions. And can you type? Well, we'll explain what the. So he shows what happens in the slaughter homes. Not home. It's not a home. In the slaughterhouses, and it's just awful. And people get a taste of that. They sometimes they get paid to watch it, and for good reason, right? Because it's
Yeah.
upsetting.
Yeah, the fact that people can't stand to watch that stuff is precisely what shows us that it's wrong.
That's what I was thinking when she got so upset with me too. But I don't think that they will admit that, or maybe they don't even. I think deep down they do know. I don't know, unless it's cognitive dissonance, as they say.
Yeah.
Scott, you get laughed at. I mean, I don't understand human nature. I don't.
People are very weird.
I'm not a psychiatrist though.
Hmm. That reminds me of something. Hey, do you happen to know who Harley Quinn is?
No.
Well, it's
Look,
it's
wait,
it's a
real quick. He said we get accused of causing trauma to their kids passing by. And I was
yeah,
thinking it's a shame that more children don't know what's happening from a
yeah,
younger age, because if they did, they would grow up to not want to eat the animals. But they don't
yeah,
find out till too late. Then by that time, they've acquired a taste. They think it's the right thing to do. They're adults. Everyone dies, right? It's tradition, and that's it.
yeah,
Interestingly, we want to teach kids that they can be whatever gender they want at 5 years old and they can have surgery, but we don't want to show them or gently tell them about how animals are put on your plate. That doesn't make sense.
yeah. What a sad statement that is. I mean, think like, yeah. Look, there is some weird stuff going on because kids are being exposed to all kinds of information that they are not ready to hear. They are not ready to see. And yet people are shielding them from the simple knowledge of knowing where their food comes from, which of course is not really food as we've agreed on, but they're eating it and yet they don't know where it comes from. Their parents are feeding them the products of slaughter, yet their parents don't want their children to see where this comes from.
Mhm.
That's scary.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, Scott, that's why I try to surround myself with people that think along the same lines as me, because it's hard for me to be fake. I want to be expressive. I want to be able to jive and gel with people like-minded. Want to read that, Chastity?
Yeah, I'm at the point where I openly volunteer to take heat from people if it means exposing the ugliness of the animal agriculture, torture, and murder complex.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Chastity, you were saying something before I talked about
Yeah.
children. What were you saying?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you're not a psychiatrist, and so I want to tell you about a cartoon character named Harley Quinn. So keep in mind this is fiction. This is a cartoon, but I think it's actually very interesting. So there was a psychologist named Harleen Quinzel, and she was a psychiatrist at a place for the criminally insane. So basically, a jail where the criminals, the people that were insane, were kept, and she became their psychiatrist. Unfortunately, by doing so, she ended up going insane herself.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like that's what happens. I feel like what happens is when you are vegan, you are aware of the criminally insane around you. People who are insane and they're murdering and raping animals. They don't call it that. They just think they're being normal. But we see their insanity. But after a while, because all we're trying to do is fight for the animals, we end up going insane. We end up becoming people who just go completely insane ourselves because we don't know how to relate to people, because we end up being lonely. We have no friends. And a lot of vegans themselves end up committing suicide from depression just because it's so difficult to live in a world where we're made fun of for being compassionate.
Yeah, today I was just kind of staring at the ceiling thinking about this argument, and it wasn't a battle of words. It was on the email, and I was just trying to she didn't want to speak to me again. That's fine. I don't want to harass anyone. But when you start saying things and defaming me, I mean, it wasn't going out there besides me, but still, like, I feel like I deserve the right to defend myself. I don't want her to have the last word and say I'm evil for that, and to call me crazy and delusional. I don't want those to be the last words. I'm attempting to explain that a lot of my life has been given to the animals, and I had this epiphany, and she's like, I don't care about your epiphany. And I said, it's my sincere religious belief, and it is actually what got me out of the injection. I don't care about your sincere religious belief. Anyway, long story short, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, how can I communicate to her that whatever was like said and done about this topic, like, I didn't mean to hurt and harm her, but she blocked me. And then I thought to myself, I just made this letter. It didn't go through. It took me time to create it. Do I text it? And I thought, no, because then I'm going to look like I'm, stalking on the phone. It's easier to do it on the email. I mean, this was a long letter, not that long, but it would have been a long text. So consequently, yes, it did take some of my time today constructing the letter. Then, what I had to go through when I realized she had blocked me on the email, and thinking about everything. So yeah, it does make you go like a little, it's depressing for sure.
Yeah.
Scott doesn't see any remedy.
Yeah. I'll be back. I have to use the restroom.
Okay.
Keep talking, entertain our audience.
All right. That's your remedy. His remedy is going to the restroom. So, that's another thing that this person said with regards to organic. So we know a lot of times organic uses manure. Ugh, yucky, yucky. I like veganic. I don't see that label out though. Veganic, there's no manure. But she was saying, and I looked it up, in some organic farms, there is bone from the animals that is used in the soil. Because she was trying to say, well, you think you're vegan, but there's an organic, but there's bones in that. I mean, I don't know what to say. Scott, what about you?
That's the problem, I think, with the $150 account.
Sorry, it just got a
Lawrence has had that,
web thing where we're talking about the
luxury.
the V.
Scott says, I remind people of the concept of least possible harm. Hey, are you muted, Principal?
I'm muted because I have to get on to a
keep faith that
seminar
it's gonna
thing
work out
now
for
where we're
us.
fighting
Like I
the
always say,
bee, the good fight.
both of us are-
Oh, I see. Sounds important. Does this...
Actually,
okay.
can I present something to you?
It is very stressful.
Okay.
So there's this lawsuit. This is for the real vegans, the real ones. Let me give you this. Let me give you the website. It's Health Freedom Defense Fund. And they're the ones that took the masks off public transit and airplanes. And they are helping to get the V mandate out of a very huge school district in Los Angeles. And I'm putting this up here, Chastity, if you don't mind sharing that with everyone. Maybe they want to pop in $5, get the V mandate out for the teachers.
Let's see. I see you have 2 links here. You in the chat.
Second one.
The second one? Okay. Let me see if I can share that in our comments here. All right. Oh, we have another person says, somebody else says, "Hello there, people." Hello, L. Yeah, well, it sounds like you had to join that thing. Well, thanks for doing this podcast with me, Principled Organic Vegan. It's been quite fun.
I appreciate it. Maybe we could talk more about the gender dysphoria and how there's a dysphoria in this country that is making the dysphoria worse. Right? That's what we believe.
Yes.
We know that there's not all this. There's not that much dysphoria beyond what they're making to be dysphoric. Is that a word?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh.
Yeah, I look forward to speaking about that. And
all right.
Solutions.
Yeah, we need solutions, and I'm not very good at coming up with solutions, but at least we know what the problem is. So that's a good start, and it helps to have somebody to relate to talk about these things because I've got nobody.
Yeah. Hi, Elle. I have to get going, but maybe Chastity should speak a little bit longer. So since this new person came in.
Yeah, maybe. So even if you have to leave, I could still go on a little bit longer and see if there's anything else I want to talk about.
Sounds good. How about this? I'll look at the chat, but I will put my camera off and my mic, and if there's something I need to say, I will type it in. How's that?
That sounds like a good plan.
Thanks for having me on this show. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Bye to our animal friends. Ooh. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I can do a sheep also. I'm good at animal noises, and I can sort of do a cat. Meow. And a dog is easy. Woof, woof, woof. I like animal noises. Also, I'm a horse. Okay, that's a very sick horse, but Yeah, well, it was good to do a little podcast and do videos again. It's been a long time since I've done my live streams, actually. As it turns out, I will no longer be living in this apartment. I'm moving in October, and I'm going to be without a reliable internet for some time. So for the month of September, hopefully I'll get in a few more live streams, and then I'm going to be working on getting my life back on track. Actually, looking for a better place to live, and also trying to see if I can get full-time employment somewhere or another part-time job. We'll see how things go. Um, and yeah, Elle, we're almost finished. I'm still here. Yeah, Scott says, "Nice seeing you again." M, yep. And L, just a non-vegan looking vegan topics. Ah, you're a non-vegan, but you're looking for vegan topics. Do you have any questions about veganism that you'd like to ask while I'm still on here? Because I find that most unusual that a non-vegan starts looking at vegan resources online. But I can tell you a good book that I found. There's a book called Why We Should Go Vegan. It was written by Magnus Vinding. You'll find it on Amazon, Smashwords, some other places too. But Magnus Vinding, Why We Should Go Vegan. It's a very short book. You can read it in less than half an hour. And it lays out the three main reasons for veganism. The ethics of not hurting animals, the health benefits, and also the environmental benefits. Let's see. Nah, I just like people talk about different topics. Well, that's cool. So do I. I listen to a lot of variety of different people and their opinions. Sometimes I listen to people's political opinions because I'm a little bit curious, but mostly I get interested in just topics of religion or other social questions because I think what I've found most interesting of late is, well, let me put it this way. I do listen to a lot of videos about LGBT topics. Part of the reason for that is because I can listen to these things without getting very emotional about it. Whereas when it comes to, veganism and it gets into other political issues, or if it gets into abortion, I get very emotional and I get upset. Whereas when I'm listening to people share their opinions about people being gay or transgender and stuff like that, I find it interesting, but it doesn't get me emotionally upset. So I can listen to different opinions, but because I'm comfortable with myself and my own opinions about these topics, I don't get as bothered. But like the topic of veganism, like Monique and I wasn't supposed to say her name, but well, everyone knows who she is if you listen to our Celibate Vegan Voices podcast. But anyway, but veganism is an emotional issue because it's literally about the life and death of animals, not to mention humans as well, because it's very connected and there's our health to consider as well. But anyway, Elle, I applaud you for listening to different people with very different opinions on different topics. That's actually very noble of you to be educated on different things. So maybe you'll catch the next live stream we do. So thanks for listening, and I guess have a good night because there's probably not too much more to say that I can think of. I do need to finish eating and probably get to bed at some point. I'm going to visit my mom tomorrow. So yeah, goodbye. And of course, it is mandatory that I end the video with my favorite thing to say. Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!